Greetings, greetings, greetings. You're now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the Vault, episode 489, Sunday Trustee Training, 157 page trust minutes for fiscal year. So we definitely wanted to do this episode. This is one of those episodes we always do things by demand only. We have no interest in putting out information into the universe that's not necessary to a problem to be solved. So this is an episode that's going to solve quite a few people's problems to the questions that they have, and particularly in trusteeship. Appreciate everybody that's gone through the trustee training. If you would like to go through the trustee training, the email you can reach out to is christian@trustchristian.com. Once again, that's christian@trustchristian.com. And one more time, christian@trustchristian.com. It's actually in the description, so just want to give it out in the beginning. Some people click on, they wonder when they're going to find out how to actually get into training. That's you just email over, inquire about it. We've been doing training for many years now. We do workshops. We had one earlier this year, actually in January, so we can't say we're down. We're only in the fifth month. We had one in January, so it's about that time to do another workshop, which we will. So definitely thank everybody for reaching out throughout the years. Sunday trustee training. This is one of those days a lot of people might have took time off. Well, Sunday trusteeship is every day. So Sunday trustee training, 157 page trust minutes for fiscal year. It's really an episode about the minutes. Wanted to do one of these for a while now, so just really going into the minutes that a lot of times a lot of people ask about, whether you want to be on a family retreat right now, whether you want to be on a site visit, whether you want to be on a family estate trip. It matters not. What matters is that those things are going on and our minutes being kept. So we're going to talk about the minutes in this particular episode. Just something once again by demand. We got quite a few questions about that this week actually, and it's just interesting to know. Okay, well, we got to go there. So we're finally going to go there, and we wanted to put it into a quality uh, earnings actually report, as they would call it, uh, from this perspective. Going to 157 page minute for fiscal year. People don't even want to know. When you hear 157 pages, 10 or 12 pages easily could be blank or could be disclaimers, cover sheet, signature pages. So, you see 157 pages and trusteeship. So many people, or people in general, they see these type of numbers and they get scared off. Oh, that's a big number. Well, 10 or 12 or 20 of the pages are, you know, blank or have a signature page on it or something. So we're going to hop into going deeper into these trust minutes for a particular trust that we saw recently. I had 157 pages. It's an entity. It had a 157 page annual report. Uh, Various minutes. When we were reading, what we liked about the minutes were very simply plain stated about profits and losses. Sometimes the only thing is when you see 157 pages still, people don't understand these things are double spaced out dang near, man. So when you read these things, these reports, or depending on the company or whoever, put it together, they could have double spaced it out. So it looks clean and neat and it's double spaced out. Whatever. Appreciate Mississippi for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate Mississippi for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you listening live in the replay. Definitely always appreciate the likes. We got to make sure we keep the episodes and the channels growing. So definitely hit the like and the subscribe button. We're only doing that because you are listening already. So why not have the algorithm get stronger for the actual other audience members and people in trust deal with people in trust. So that's why we're talking about because we deal in trust. We're not out here food gazing it. When we talk about trust minutes, we're talking about going over something that we've read recently to I just really just go over what we've seen. So trustees, when they ask these questions, oh, trust minutes, I want to make sure that the minutes are great. Well, okay, how many minutes am I going to have? They don't ask this question. Well, what are the how many minutes should I have in a year? Well, we tell them, okay, there's going to be weeks, so it's 52 weeks in the year. You got 12 months in the year. So we can see there's any range from that. But this particular one, we see 157 page trust minutes for a fiscal year. That's what we see. So inside of the 157 page, you got 10, 12 blank with signatures. You get into meat and potatoes. Things are going to be broken down into months, what they were actually. Just plainly stated this month. And then really you kind of see a book that's written about the actions that were taken. And even still, wasn't a lot of personality to it. So just for people that they want to ask, where does the trustees commentary come into the actual notes about the actions or proposed actions to be taken? Really wasn't too present. Of course, there was actually in the beginning there was we can go back to it. In the beginning there was an actual kind of like so the senior trustee may give his thought process on the direction of what just happened over the past 12 months and what's supposed to be the direction of the next 12 months. That's a very easy thing to do. It may not be easy for most people, but it's something that overall, as a senior trustee, you definitely are accounting for the past year. And that could be two, three, 4 pages, you know. Uh, and so no one wants to hear that. It shouldn't be really anything more than that. We haven't seen anything really more than that, and that's very important. So we're gonna do our best to pull it up here again to see it. But nevertheless, when you actually see, once again, the 157 page, minutes, trust minutes, you say, okay, well, you have the first couple pages where the senior trustee is going over what they're going over. Then we get into pretty much what just happened. Great. Well, ultimately, great programs are going to show right away what they did and what they didn't do. It's no need to sugarcoat it. The numbers are going to be pretty clear. It's actually going to be overall table of contents. We saw a table of contents. So a lot of times people say, oh, how do I go about doing it? There's a table of contents, labeling possibly time frames of the year, specific decisions that were made that year. So when you go through the folder or you go through the file, you can see that there's well, what are you going to see when you go back through the folder? You're going to just be able to see an organization to the actual situation. So, right, like what we saw here, they immediately wanted to go over the highlights. And then this is another thing when we talk about trust minutes. People come into the system, they don't really know sometimes that's fair. At the same time, there are people that act like they know. And so acting is worse than not knowing. So when we get people that act like they know, there is an importance to stating what type of accounting system the company is using. So that was something that we saw. That might be a underhanded thing for some people. We get a lot of people coming to the vault to ask, "Oh, I gotta do the discharge, and I gotta do something with Treasury Direct account, the TDA. Are you doing a trust minutes for the TDA, the Treasury Direct account? Do you have a 157-page minute trust put together document for the Treasury Direct account? Do you have the minutes? No. And did they state in the minutes that they're managing for the account, the accounting system? No. But this is what we're sharing is how the big boys play, big girls play in the private sector. It formalizes, quote unquote, the organization. It gives it substance to the form when you actually just put that even in the report. So this is once again in the minutes. It's the accounting system. Oh, I don't know what type of accounting system I'm gonna use, but I'm not gonna use the normal one. Well, if you're not gonna use the normal accounting system, you have to. It's important to state what accounting system you're using. That's being direct. So we got 157 page. It stated the accountants is just like, oh man, is that necessary for the big dogs, for the individuals that want to perform at a high level or looking to perform at a high level? These are things you're looking for. So once again, we're just going to go through what we saw as 157 minutes. This is a short version even still. They went over a business overview. They went over a management commentary. These are things we already discussed, which is basically them saying, look, these are the numbers and this is the management thoughts on it. And whether y'all want to know it or not, the management senior trustees didn't have like a whole bunch to say because at the end of the day, that sounds good, but whatever. You need to get down to what really happened. So even in the shorter versions, they get down to the numbers. They're pretty much pulling up P&Ls. This is something people are gonna say, "Oh man, really?" Yeah, like you look at the numbers. Okay, they have unaudited numbers at times. Yes, they have unaudited numbers. These are numbers sometimes that are before the end of the year. They have soft numbers and they have hard numbers. And so that actually took up quite a few pages. Was them breaking down quarter for quarters, then breaking down, then breaking 9 months for 9 months. And so you get into that type of thought process. So I'm gonna do our best to keep it clean here. Uh, Once again, whether you all know it or not, they had their fiscal results on 2 pages in what we would call pie chart, bar chart. Uh, they gave you pretty much net profit over the previous year versus this year. They gave quarter over quarter result per year. So you're asking, oh man, what are in the minutes? Why would I put those things in minutes? These are overviews. These aren't even what transactions happen. They're reports of performance year over year. So how is that something that should be excluded from the conversation here? We're not excluding it. We gotta pull up something for you. So usually your yearly reports are going to be a lot thicker than maybe the monthly reports, the quarterly reports. These are the things that we sit at financial conferences and we talk about, and it's about governance. Everybody likes to talk about being in things, but what happens to the governance? Do you manage? How do you manage? Those are the things that we would want to know, and everybody wants to know supposedly. So yes, actually it wasn't 157. It was 172. But it doesn't matter. They actually have probably got a bunch of pages with just pictures on them in blank once again. Uh, what's interesting is you see people that play at higher levels will put in. Sometimes they'll interject public information into the trusteeship or the management. And it's interesting that they'll do that inside of the minutes because it's almost like, well, if we mess up on the public side, here's our disclaimer of how we messed up already because this happened already. We're just precluding ourselves from future cautionaries or precautionaries, and sure, whatever. Whether y'all know it or not. We sit in front of these people all the time. We sat in front of a lawyer yesterday and they literally couldn't perform. It's like, yeah, you're not anything special. You went to law school, you think a very structured way. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to the people that hire the lawyers. There are more people that hire lawyers than, and there's still a lot of lawyers in the world. Unnecessarily. Huh, unnecessarily. So, whatever. Trustee minutes. Sometimes you got, if you have EIN docs, those things are right there in the annual report. We go straight into the annual trust minutes. Pretty much have the table of contents. You have a section for properties. You have a section for legal proceedings. You have sections for uh, management discussions and analyzing. We're just giving you all some of the things that we saw that were highlight points from the particular one that we saw. This isn't a have to. This isn't a do, and it's just if you don't do it, that's on the individuals or families. But see, we understand what we provide to the marketplace at the vault. So we're in trustee training, quantitative and qualitative disclosures about market risk. And those are things that, it's such a small detail, very small detail, just that one section alone. When you talk about trust minutes, oh man, it's 157 pages. What if I only got 12 pages that show the transfer and the deposit of an asset? Exactly. 12 to 15, 20 pages. So sometimes there may be a section for 3 pages or 2 pages, a page possibly, dedicated to quantitative and qualitative disclosures about market risk. And those are things that, when you're talking to the successor, you're letting them know these are some of the risks that we've had in the past. These are some of the risks looking forward. So if anyone jumps in at that moment, they're right there. They're right there up to date. This is one of those things that it's called the annual report. So the annual report is pretty much a forward-looking and backward-looking 12-month look view, and it's isolated in one period of time, usually in the early part of a fiscal year for the common error, um, things of that nature. So we have another section here called financial statements. Uh, Changes and in disagreements with accountants. Like this one that we saw, this is a tough one for an average person to hear or a public person to hear. They want to know why do they have to have so much detail. Well, the level of detail says changes in and disagreements with accountants on accounting and financial disclosure. Some people may take that as a red flag or a bad thing, but whether you all know that or not, it's very important to write those things down. And once again, we talk to trustees all the time about just having high levels of detail. So this just goes to that, having a high level of detail. This is one of those things. Other information, putting in a specific style of fees, and bam, they just kind of hop into it, and they went through 100 pages of really talking about the businesses that it managed. They gave a great description of that, and then because the because it owned a lot of businesses, it had reports from those companies as well at times. It has some type of evidence or prima facie showing those companies what they do, their value, appraisal docs, things of that nature. Uh, it's a pretty lengthy, trust minute here for sure. It wasn't 1 minute. These were obviously minutes throughout a whole year. That they kind of obviously got certified at the end. With a signature. Let's see here. They obviously got the officers, senior officers got their signature. So this is one of the things we've run into with the trustees. We can go ahead and address it. I guess we gotta do a full blown episode about it, but long story short is that trustees say, "Oh, I'm in it to win it, but I'm in it by myself." First of all, you can't be in trusteeship by yourself. If you think you're gonna last in trusteeship by yourself, have fun. It doesn't work that way. Like we attend events and we're around other senior trustees. We've had a conference in January with a senior trustee. She is a third generation securities exchange lawyer. A lot of things matter in life and a lot of things don't. But when someone has the regulatory skills set, that is it's good to have, well, if it's good to have those people around, they know the law just like if you think you know the law or want to get them to execute on a law, that's what they're for. They work for you. They work for the company to benefit the company. So it's a team. It's good to have these people around. And so some trustees can say, oh, I wasn't born into this, whatever. I wasn't born into this. Well, at one point, you don't have to be born into it. It's about the simple fact that you have to adapt to the fact that you're in trusteeship. And sometimes that might be challenging for people because they're in the public, so they're living a very public life. And people say they want to go private all the time. Oh, I want to go private. Well, is it a transition? It's not just a transition, it's a thought process and a lifestyle more than anything else. Oh man, it's the tough one. Sure. So what we saw here as well, which is something we don't mind sharing here in the public, which if you're in private trusteeship, preparing the trustee minutes like a public one is very important. So this is something that we saw here in this one, which because they started adding public stuff to it, they kind of put themselves in the public with it. So just be aware of that. Some companies will do that. They will put themselves in the public, and by them putting themselves in the public, uh, we can see that they obviously are okay with adhering to those situations. Uh, they got all the signatures from all the seniors. When we say doing it by yourself, how you doing it by yourself? It's trusteeship, whether people know it or not. It's trusteeship. It's not, oh, I'm doing it by myself. We got mentors that share business offices with attorneys and their attorneys. It doesn't mean that you're an attorney. It just means you share an office with an attorney. You're still an attorney or not. It doesn't matter. What matters is being able to engage with people, and particularly the people that can help out in trusteeship in general. We might even see everybody talks about, oh, we generational wealth in it, we generational wealth in it. So you got the tool or you want to get the tool, but if you get the tool, who do you have on your team to help you administer the tool, to help you move the tool and operate the tool? Who do you have on your team? That sometimes can be displayed in the minutes. So we see people say, oh, I'm doing it by myself. Okay. We know that this is a team sport. Do you need good old trust Christian in the vault? Most likely, and we know it. At the same time, we're definitely here to serve. We look forward to hearing from you all. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Wow. Christian at trustchristian.com. That's how that goes. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen to replay. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe inside of the replay, or oh yeah, in the replay. Feel free to hit the like button. I always appreciate that, helping out. I can really get stronger. Appreciate you all. Peace and